Hello, welcome. My name is Willis. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I am very excited for this video because I get to share some of the biggest lessons and uh, takeaways that I've learned over the last 10 plus years in my adult life on this quest of personal development, psychology, philosophy, and the last 3 years of what I would term my spiritual awakening. And so this is the Ancestral Father checklist. I'm going to refer to it kind of briefly or in a big overview. Hopefully, if you're watching this video, it's because you already have this checklist and had a chance to go through it. If you don't have this, feel free to download it at pygmaliate.com/masculine. So that's this right here. And you can get your free copy. So a little bit about me. I'm a men's transformational coach. My mission is to help men, particularly of millennial age and particularly of mixed cultures, to be able to show up as the best versions of ourselves. Because we live in a very interconnected world, and we see how the East and the West have different ways of thinking, and sometimes having to straddle and navigate various cultures, backgrounds, religions, values, etc. It's difficult for us to find our own voice. And so what I do is I empower people like me to formulate, communicate, and navigate our own unique, authentic identity. And this includes helping men release, forgive, and accept the fears, wounds, and attachments that we have so that we can embody our truths. We can establish open, loving relationships with the people we care about, and we can commit to a noble aim, ultimately in service of humanity. So if you're reading this, hopefully you fit into that category. I particularly enjoy working with millennial men because we are kind of the next generation who must step forth into leadership positions in the next 10, 20 years. Some of the older millennials, they're already in some of those leadership positions. And so this is the group that I want to work with to be able to prepare ourselves for the increasing responsibility that we'll have in our lives. Like I mentioned, for me specifically, I'm an American of Asian, specifically Taiwanese descent. I grew up in Taiwan. However, I went to an American school, so I was speaking English, surrounded by American ideas. Went to the U.S. for university, joined the military, and then after that, worked in the States for a bit, and then was kind of globe-trotting for a little bit. And so I understand firsthand the difficulties and the challenges that come with trying to bridge these cultural barriers. For example, my parents grew up in Taiwan, speak much less English, and they have different ideas, and sometimes they're incompatible with my ideas on relationships, on career, on certain gender roles, mental health issues, politics, religion, and more. And so maybe you're in that boat. Maybe you're not necessarily an American or of Taiwanese descent. Maybe you're French or French Moroccan or um, a Muslim in a European country, whatever it is that your particular background is. If you are someone who's kind of caught between multiple worlds, it can be difficult to navigate, to be true to yourself, but also to honor and respect, and integrate the lessons and the mindset and the way of thinking of your parents or the country that you're living in if you're a first generation immigrant, trying to figure all of that out. And so that's the kind of people that I love to work with. It does offer us a distinct set of challenges. However, like I mentioned, the fact that our world is becoming increasingly interrelated means that people like us are in an incredible position of particular responsibility, value, interest, and I dare say excitement. It is exciting to see the world becoming increasingly connected, and what that looks like for society going forward, is to be seen. But that's why I really believe in the work that I'm doing, because we've all seen, whether it's in our own lives, in history, or even just in current events, when different cultures clash, when different people and ideologies clash, if there's no cohesion and no civil discourse, it can lead to misunderstandings, it can lead to fear, blaming, ostracism, disgust, hatred, and sometimes even violence, right? And with development of technology the way that it is, I truly believe that we're at a crossroads, because it is almost all too easy for a few set of decisions from a few influential actors or people to turn humanity down a very dark path. Whereas we also have the technology that, if we play it right, can usher in unprecedented levels of peace and abundance. And so, which way we go is on all of us. We all have a collective responsibility, and we all have a part to play in this transition. And so, all the work that we do and all the decisions that we do matter. And people like us who are in this mix have a particular set have a particular value, because we will be seen as those leaders, as those people who have, a foot in each door, who can kind of bring people together. That's kind of where our value lies and where our potential is. But in order to be that person, we have to first work on ourselves. And this matters to us individually as well. If you're reading this, I'm willing to bet that you have a powerful vision for yourself. You have your passions and your interests and a specific avenue through which you want to make the world a better place, essentially. Maybe you're passionate about climate change. Maybe you are passionate about helping the homeless. Maybe you are working with veterans. Maybe you are in healthcare. Whatever it is, I'm sure that you have a powerful vision and a big mission to fulfill. And if you don't have the specific mission defined, you have this feeling and this profound craving for who you could be, and you want to devote your life to making a big impact, to transforming thousands, if not millions, of lives, to do work that truly matters to you. And when you do that, you enjoy your life, you live with passion, you feel energized each and every day. You're excited to take on the challenges of the day because you're living an aligned, purposeful life. And you understand that only by pursuing a large, compelling mission with an aligned purpose can you really and truly feel a lasting sense of liberation, of fulfillment, of freedom, and peace of mind. Self-actualization is the name of the game for you, and living your truth is the only way you'll actually be able to feel good about yourself, to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and feel that peace of mind, sense of fulfillment, no matter what other people may think or how much money you have or how externally successful you may be. You know that those things at the end of the day don't give you that fulfillment. What you need to do is live and embody your truth. So if you're reading this again, I trust that there's a part of you that is ready to bring that potential to life. However, at this stage in your journey, maybe you don't know where to start, or there's still so many things that you have yet to sort out about yourself. Maybe you're still dealing with procrastination. Maybe you have these big ideas, but you just don't feel like you have the time or the energy um, to take that step and to answer the call to adventure. Maybe you have an addiction. For much of my 20s, I would say that I spent a lot of energy on drinking, and that was holding me back from accomplishing a grand vision. Maybe you don't even know how to communicate your desires with your own family. Maybe you have, like I mentioned, um, disagreements or incompatible views with your family. And so if you can't even, you might feel that if you can't even work through that, how are you going to become a beacon of light for your community, for humanity in general? And underneath all of that, there's also the chatter of our egos, right, pulling back us into the status quo, thoughts of self-doubt, of imposter syndrome, of unworthiness, insecurity, not feeling qualified, not really knowing if we have what it takes. Maybe we're just wasting our time. And these ideas keep us from leveling up. They keep us where we're at. And most of the time where we're at is fine, right? But fine or good is the enemy of great. And if you're watching this, probably you've been pulled back to fine a number of times, And so maybe you find yourself self-sabotaging. Your reality is not changing as quickly as you'd like. Maybe you have delved a bit into productivity, into setting goals, into working on yourself, into understanding your wounds, into trying to end generational traumas. But sometimes it feels like you're taking one step forward and two steps back, right? Maybe you find yourself reverting back to old patterns, getting stuck in the same routines, letting life pass you by, and just not living up to your potential. And if this sounds like you're definitely not alone. I can definitely relate. It's how I was for a long time, and I know what it's like when things haven't fully clicked, when you feel stuck or frustrated, when you feel confused. I've thought I was crazy on a number of times, and to be honest, at least for me, this never fully goes away. It's much less a part of who I am, and that's why I am sharing it. But we're all going to have those moments where our self-doubt creeps in or things like that. So it's totally normal, but it's time to take some action and make some changes as well, because this is our one life, and what we do does matter, if not to anyone else, then at the very least to ourselves. So that's why I wanted to create this Ancestral Father checklist, to share everything that I've learned, or the major things that I've learned, and the things I wish I knew when I got started on this journey, and to give you a roadmap that you can use to transform your life. And so this is the checklist, or the roadmap, that I refer back to remind myself of what's important. And Honestly, there's nothing I love more than seeing men with these huge hearts who are opening up, who have a deep desire to make an impact and become leaders, change the world, to help others. And so I want to empower you with some of the tools to make that happen. And that's why I'm so excited to share this guide with you. Because like I said, the shift in consciousness that needs to happen on a global scale can't happen with any individual. And so it's, you know, thousands, millions of people like me, like us, who want to make the world a better place. That's what it's going to take. And it starts with the work that we do on ourselves. So what is the ancestral father? This is an idea I got from Jordan Peterson. Ancestral father is in all of us. It's encoded in our DNA, and it's the individual who seeks to integrate, to update, and to share the wisdom and the traditions of our predecessors. We share that with our contemporaries in the hopes of creating a brighter future. Right? Our ancestors have come up with a lot of things over the years, a lot of wise things, some of which apply to the current world, some of which may not. And it's up to each of us to update and take in what we have learned, see whether it applies, and to share it with the hopes of making life better for the future generations. This is kind of our embarking also on our personal hero's journey, and it's the roadmap for living the adventure of a lifetime, really. And so I can't think of any other journey that's more meaningful or more noble than that. This will be, whatever it is you're struggling with right now, whether it's procrastination, whether it's anxiety, addictions, a lot of self-doubt, difficult relationships, all these things, like these are all things that are holding you back from being who you can be. And so, the first step is to transform into someone who's ambitious, who's bold, who's caring, who has mastery over himself, to be able to manifest and accomplish your big mission in your life, and to become that inspiration, to become that role model um, in your community, and that ancestral father whose offspring, your children, your grandchildren, they're going to be the ones who look up to you as someone who really paved the way and made a big difference and had a profound legacy on their lives, on your community, on your country, and on humanity in general. I believe that's your destiny. If you are reading this, I believe that you also know deep down that that's your destiny, and maybe together we can help bring that to reality. So real quick, I'm going to go through the 7-step method or checklist, the roadmap for personal transformation. And this is based loosely on the 7 chakras. So I begin with the heart, beginning with love, because I believe that is what unites us. That is the container through which the rest of our being emanates. And with love, that includes recognizing the unity of all, recognizing the perfection of all, despite all the war and atrocities and pain and suffering and malevolence, tragedy that occurs in our lives, both for ourselves and for the world at large. It takes a wise and it takes a big man to be able to recognize the the beauty in that, and the opportunity, I should say, as well, to to make to make things better. Um, so a lot of those things are a product of generations of ego, of trauma, of basically not acting out of love and acting out of pain and acting out of hurt. But it's within the power and the choice of each and every one of us to be able to transform that pain into love, to be able to find gratitude and forgiveness and grace amidst the suffering. This is one of the fundamental premises of what I teach, what I hope to embody. And so that's why I have it here. Suffering, again, finding grace through suffering, realizing that we create our own suffering when we project expectations onto reality, when we have attachments, and being able to just truly be present, to truly accept and love the present, and believe that all is well, no matter what's going on. So the first is love. Next is our spiritual awareness. And in here I talk a little bit about God, about the ancestral father, of contemplating at least what God means to you. I'm not saying whether you need to or ought to believe or not believe in God, but at least taking the time to consider what that means specifically to you, and maybe be able to detach that from any preconceived notions that you think about when you think about God. Also understanding the soul's curriculum and the top 5 regrets of the dying, to understand what pitfalls to avoid, and to really just embrace the one life that we have, to honor the limited time that we have on Earth. Some of the basic ideas with spirituality: hermetic principles, chakras, masculine and feminine energy, and then to access your inner counsel and the 4 archetypes of the mature masculine. And these are inner resources, inner archetypes that we all possess and that we all have innately. And they're sources of wisdom that we can access when we need some guidance and support. Next is our awareness. This is our root chakra. This is related to our identity. This is related to our survival, our grounding. So one of the big ones of this is self-awareness, right? Understanding what our wounds and our masks are. A lot of times the way that we are is a product of the pain that we experienced as children when we were developing. And so we developed, our brains, our egos developed defensive mechanisms to protect us and to help us survive. And while those protective mechanisms served us when we were young, they're no longer serving us now, because what helps us to survive is not necessarily what helps us to thrive. And if we want to go from surviving to thriving, we need to learn to transform our conditioning and our defensive mechanisms that our ego adopted. All right. Next, as it relates to grounding in our identity, taking time to understand or think about masculinity, what masculinity means for you personally. Again, not what society says necessarily, but what you believe is your role, and that what that energy entails, and what that looks like for you to show up in the world. Your personality, and I think this is a big one, understanding personality and the differences in personality and what your personality is, how that influences your decisions or your perceptions. I think this understanding personality is very key to not only understanding yourself, but viewing others with more compassion. Because a lot of times, people who have separate political views or different job interests or job or the way that they perform their job uh, is based on their personality. And knowing that a lot of it is genetic allows us to view others with more compassion, especially people who are different from ourselves. Next, an awareness of your core values and the four agreements. So again, taking time to understand what your values are, what what values even are, and what the four agreements are that allow you to improve your overall well-being in life and ability to just kind of float through the world. Next, fears. So a lot of what blocks our connection to ourselves is our fears, and we all have different kinds of fears. We all have fears, and understanding what our fears are allows us to embrace the courage to overcome them. Because a lot of times, what we fear doing most is what we most need to do, and some of the best things in life are found on the other side of our fears. Next, the game of life. So this is, again, our perception of the world, seeing everything as a series of opportunities and lessons. This relates to the soul's curriculum, taking time to understand what our core beliefs are, from that, what our mission is, designing a life or developing a course of action that allows us to have more clarity on living a life in alignment with our values, with our beliefs, with our mission. And then taking time to consider what illusions we have about ourselves, about society, about what we ought to believe, etc., etc. So to know that what we believe is our own. Next is our embodiment. This is our feeling, everything that relates to our bodies. This includes emotions because we physically experience emotions as well. So understanding what emotions are, how we can use them to serve us instead of having our emotions control us, but being the master over our emotions. Our physical health, honoring the container of our existence. Sometimes people overlook physical health as not important, but it's, again, the container, the temple of your soul, or the container of your existence, and so you want to take care of your health. Connection with yourself, connection with others, as well as release. So just an overall energetic release for stories, patterns, behaviors, blockages that don't serve you, that you want to transcend. Next, communication. So understanding vulnerability, understanding why it matters, how to use it. The radical honesty process with being able, again, to communicate emotions in a conscious way and in a proactive instead of reactive way. Authenticity, honoring your personal truth, embodying your personal truth, becoming aware of lies that you may have told yourself or others, again, whether purposefully or not. Sometimes you just didn't know any better, but bringing awareness to that. And then working on your verbal fluency and your ability to communicate, to persuade, to influence others. Lastly, execution piece. This is the doing. So developing the right mindset, developing an empowering mindset, say, developing the habits and the intentional action, and removing the distractions or the disempowering habits, and mindsets so that you can continue to chart a path forward, maintaining that consistency, getting the compounding on your side, and then focusing on continual improvement, continual growth, continual learning, optimization of productivity, energy, etc., to continue to focus your efforts. So that is the overall checklist. I have a recap here. You can read through that. And once you are able to integrate and apply the 7 steps in your life, what you'll experience is a massive transformation. So you'll go from feeling unmotivated, lethargic, frustrated, helpless, to feeling energized, to feeling aligned, to um, living it in accordance with your values, to embodying your beliefs and taking steps every day to turn your mission, your vision into a reality. And again, as you do this, life really does become more beautiful. You attract amazing people. You life takes on a magical quality, and you become more optimistic and more positive. It's not an easy journey, but it is one that I truly believe is worthwhile, and why I am so passionate about sharing. And yes, you will still have ups and downs, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows. You will have to confront your shadow and confront your wounds and confront the worst parts about yourself. But the light's at the end of the tunnel. That's all I can say. And so at this point, you might, hopefully some of what I shared has resonated with you. But you might be asking how. You have this roadmap, this checklist, but you're not exactly sure how to apply it to your life and what steps you need to take. And so if that sounds like you, and you've gotten some value, but you want to take some next steps, what I would recommend for you. So the first thing is, if you just are looking for a bit more information, I have a YouTube channel. I have an Instagram page. Those are here, where I speak about these ideas and more at length. Also have some free ebooks here at this page. Again, if you don't have this document, you can get it there. I also have just the Ancestral Father Google Slides, short books on addiction, anxiety, procrastination, etc. And if you're really ready to step into your calling, and you want to work with me directly, then I'd love for a chance to get to know you personally, and to know what vision you do have and what you're currently struggling with, is preventing you from taking that next step in your life. You can go ahead and fill out this Google form. After submitting it, I'll take a look, see if we're a good fit, and then I'll reach out, and maybe we can hop on a call to discuss how we might be able to work together in the future. Either way, I hope we can stay connected. I've enjoyed learning and incorporating these ideas, and I really enjoy sharing them as well. So hopefully you're able to get some value from this and apply it to your own life. That said, be kind, live your life, embody your truth. That's it. Thank you again for watching this. Time is, what is one of our greatest resources, the most important ones. So I do appreciate the time that you took to absorb this. All the best on your journey. I hope to connect with you soon.